Welcome back. This time let's talk about the stress response, which is also called the fight or flight response, as we know. But did you know that our bodies and our brains respond to stressful stimuli the same way as if we were early humans and we have to literally run from an animal or fight for our lives? This is not necessary in everyday life. It's good when you have to jump out of the way from a car, or you have to save a baby from falling into the water or something like that. When you have to spring into action, it's excellent that our bodies and brains still respond in this way. But if somebody just honks at you in traffic or somebody's rude, we don't have to get into that full fight or flight response, but we do. Our bodies do, whether we mean to or not. So this course is designed to help us recognize that and break out of it with these mindfulness, movement, and arts practices. So when we get into stress, our heart rate increases, our respiratory rate increases, the rate at which we breathe. Our blood rushes to our extremities to fuel our arms and legs to literally run or fight. Our white blood cells get sticky and kind of go on standby at the surface of our skin to essentially respond to a potential wound. But you can see how this kind of stress response might not be beneficial for a person that's in long-term stress. If you're in long-term stress, these reactions aren't good for your body, especially your white blood cells not going to places that they need to filter and help the blood. Our blood pressure also spikes, and our body starts burning carbs rapidly to essentially fuel the muscles to fight or run. So like I said, this is an essential when we are in regular everyday stressors, when we're just getting stress from work or family. This is not necessary for our bodies to be responding as if we literally have to fight or run. Again, like I said in the first segment, the blood rushes from the prefrontal cortex to the back of the brain to essentially just keep our vital organs running, but it changes us. It makes us more reactive. It takes away our personality. It takes away our executive decision making. So you can see how when you're in stress, we often react in ways that we don't like. We often speak in ways that we don't like, and we don't really mean to, but it's our body in that stress response. So this course is designed to help us recognize that and to take our self-care into our own hands and react to stress when we don't need to react in a more healthy and balanced way, and to retrain the brain. When we're stressed, our muscles and demeanor also changes. So I'm going to share a story with you that can demonstrate that. Typically, if we're really stressed out, people curve forward to protect the core. So you see a lot of people like this when they're really stressed. Or people puff up. A lot of times men puff up when they're stressed to look like more of a threat. It's subconscious. It's not really something we're deciding to do, but that's what happens. And our bodies get out of alignment, and then we get tension and sprained muscles and aches and pains in our lower back. So our practices coming forward are going to help us realign the body as well, and to be aware of physical changes in the body and how to change that. For the past 10 years, I've been providing therapeutic music for patients at hospitals and also teaching stress management techniques there. And this story, I think, is very representative of how our physical demeanor changes when we're in an extreme state of stress. So this one time I was asked to go see a patient that just received very difficult diagnosis, and they were alone at the time. So I knocked on the door very gently, entered the room very quietly, and it was pitch dark in there. Just totally dark, blinds drawn, and I see a figure in the bed that's curled up in a fetal position with blankets pulled up to their eyes, and their eyes just staring at the wall in almost a look of terror. I said, "Hi, I'm Danielle. I just sing songs, and I was coming to see if you feel like a song today." And they nodded yes. and I just chose from the person's age and just demographic what I thought might fit their style of music. I started singing, and by the end of the first verse, I noticed that instead of being in a fetal position, they had stretched out in the bed and turned to look at me. By the end of the chorus, second verse, I saw them moving the bed up to sit up more straight and be present with me. Then by the end of the song, they were sitting up, relaxed in the neck and shoulders, and swaying to the music. At the end of the song, they sighed and said, "Wow, why is it so dark in here? Let's let some light in." And I thought that that story was so representative of how just shifting our focus can really change that constant stress response and that constant state of fear or anger or worry. And all it was a focus on some relaxing music. We're going to bring that in another segment. But I think that's a good representation of how we can tune into our bodies, tune into our responses to stress, and say, what's going on here? Okay, I'm getting into the fight or flight response. Let me actively break this cycle and make a choice to break myself out of that and get myself into a state of calm. And when we break that cycle, we are able to get out of the fight or flight response and into a rest and digest state. I hope that information helps you to become a little more aware of what happens to us. It's normal, we're human, but what happens to us when we are confronted with stress and how we can make actions to change that. Thank you.